Let's be honest. Ham radio has a problem. We're not getting younger. And if we don't fix that, this hobby doesn't have a future. That's exactly why ARRL Kids Day matters more than most people realize. Let's talk about it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to HamShackTV. Live, learn, transmit. I'm your host, Josh, AA4WX. And today we're talking about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention, but it should. ARRL Kids Day. And if you care about the future of ham radio, even just a little bit, you need to pay attention to this. Now, ARRL Kids Day happens twice a year, once in January and once in June. The idea is simple. Get kids on the air. No pressure, no contest stress, no gatekeeping. Just let them sit down, key up, and experience what it's like to talk to someone somewhere else using nothing but a radio. This isn't just about letting kids try something new. This is about exposure. Because most kids today have never, ever touched a radio outside of maybe a bubble pack FRS radio. None of them probably have heard HF, high frequency signals. None of them probably understand how communication actually works. And once they do, something will click. One contact can turn into curiosity into a lifelong interest. So the reason I want to bring this up is a couple days ago, I was driving home from work and was scanning the bands. And I heard a child's voice come across on W4KEV's 145.370 machine. That's here in Knoxville. And at first I thought, oh, Lord, a kid has gotten a hold of radio, is playing with it, and probably not licensed. Well, I got to listening. And the reason I thought that is they were extremely overmodulated, and they also had a Roger beep on their radio. We don't do here locally. Roger beeps are typically not accepted by the repeater owners. It's just a preference that they don't like. So I just stopped and listened. And before I jumped on the radio, I was listening to what was going on. He was talking to another ham, ZAZ. I won't give his full call. And ZAZ ran out of time, but I actually heard him actually give a call sign. Now, because we're dealing with a child, I'm not going to share their call sign over the radio or over the YouTube video here. But he gave a call sign, and I QRZ'd it, and he's legit. It was a legit QSO. So once ZAZ was done with, had to get off the air, I decided that I'd try to talk to him. So I did. And what a great QSO. I introduced myself, told him I was a ham radio YouTuber and that kind of stuff. And one thing that I try to do here on HamShackTV is I try to simplify it, because my ultimate goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain. And that's one of the things that you've got to do when you're educating people, is make things as elementary as you possibly can. And so I was talking to the young gentleman. They were there was a couple of other kids around, and we did some third-party traffic and that kind of thing, and just asking all kinds of questions. What is a repeater? Seriously, have you ever actually thought about what a repeater is? And ultimately, I came down to it and said, well, it's pretty simple. You're keying up your radio on one frequency. Yes, you may think you're on 145.370, but that's actually the receive frequency. You're actually transmitting 600 kilocycles below that frequency, kilohertz, that kind of thing. And that's the input of the repeater. And what the repeater's doing is it takes what you're saying and retransmits it out on that receive frequency, 145.370. And they were like, oh, okay. And I asked if that made sense to him, and it did. So, that's one of the things. I hope that we inspired some new amateur radio operators coming in the future. And they were asking questions about how to get their license and things like that. And of course, the gentleman who initiated the conversation did have his license. So I have no issue with third-party traffic. If you ever hear me on the air and you don't have a license and you have a license holder with you, feel free to ask if you can go third-party with me. I don't mind it at all. So anyway, I really appreciated being able to talk to these youngins, and hope that you also are able to do that. Now, they did ask how they could get their license, and I told them there's one step that a lot of people miss. And once the spark happens and you want to get your amateur radio license, you got to give them a path forward, because that excitement, what happens with excitement with no direction, it fades pretty fast. And with young people, they need an app-driven thing in order to help learn how to get their ham radio license. And that's where Ham Radio Prep comes in. If you've got a kid or even an adult who's interested in after something like Kids Day, Ham Radio Prep makes it easy to actually get your ham radio license. It's straightforward, it's self-paced, and cuts out a lot of confusion and turns people away early. And if you use my coupon code HamShackTV, you will save 10% at checkout on their already great prices. And you know what? They're so confident they can help you get your ham radio license or upgrade your license. They offer a money-back guarantee. See website for details, hamradioprep.com. But the bottom line is, if you're serious about growing this hobby, you don't just put someone on the air. You help them get their license. Now, how do you participate in Kids Day? You don't need a massive station to do Kids Day. You don't need a tower. You don't need a perfect setup. You just need a working radio, an antenna, which could be a line in a wire up in a tree, a vertical, whatever gets you good SWR and puts you in connection with the world. You also need to have the willingness to let someone else take the mic. Maybe do a POTA event. Kids are at parks. Call them over. Maybe your club has a banner for amateur radio communications. People are curious. They will walk up to you in a park and say, "What are you doing?" Tell them and teach them. And Kids Day is a great day to do that. And if a kid wants to operate, let them call CQ. Let them fill out their log. Let them ask questions. And most importantly, let them mess up. That's how they're going to learn. It's really fun. Now, here's the reality. If we don't bring new people into this hobby, it's going to fade away. Plain and simple. No amount of complaining about organizations or how things used to be is going to fix that. But this is actually something you can do. Now, so if you've got kids, grandkids, neighbors, or a local club, get them on the air on Kids Day, because the future of ham radio isn't sitting in a shack arguing online. It's sitting in a chair and hearing their first contact and realizing what's possible. I can't wait for Kids Day, guys. If you're interested in the childlike mentality for amateur radio operators, or maybe you've got a kid, Ham Radio Kids Table is a great channel to tune into. My friend Gray Man POTA runs that. Go check out Ham Radio Kids Table. They stream every Wednesday night, I believe it is. So check them out. Thanks for watching, guys. Go check out Ham Radio Prep. 73 AA4 WX WSCV 693.